Hi gang, Rob here at the Edge Powersports. Just wanted to go over one of my favorite Suzuki Kingquads, the Kingquad 750. This is actually our carbon edition, so gives it that forged carbon look on the bodywork. I wish I could say it was real carbon. That would actually jack up the price quite a bit on one of these things. But a really sharp looking bike. No lie, this is a bike that it'll do 85 out on the flats if you wanted to. But if you're up hunting, camping, whatnot, really these things have about, roughly about 1350 towing capacity on them. So you can really tow quite a bit. I've got buddies that go out and do elk hunting. They've quartered up the elk and rolled it out on one of these units. So you can really pull and tow. I've got friends that use them for their landscaping companies, for just doing general purpose work, and they also use them for their snow removal during the winter time. So very capable unit. You could take one of these out and drop it off in the middle of Alaska, and it'd run and run and run for you. You really wouldn't have to worry about it. Gas, tires, and oil, that's really all these things require. So we're going to go over all the bits and bobs on it, get you familiar with what's going on with one of these units, and if it jingles your bell, come in and hit us up. We can definitely help you out on one. So we're just going to look at some of the basic features first. If we took out the shifter here, one thing that I really find is amazing on this, a lot of people don't know about this, but the shift gate assembly inside the shifter was actually designed by Mercedes-Benz. So very solid unit. I've never seen one of these shifter units fail in all the years that I've been working on Suzuki. So very refined system on it. And if you take a look at the floorboards, one thing that you're going to notice on the floorboards compared to a lot of other manufacturers is the foot peg is actually set up above the floorboard itself, so it actually cleans out a lot easier. If you're going uphill, you can rock back onto your heels and get a little more or angled lever or up onto your toes, so really beneficial. Take a look at some of the other manufacturers out there, and you're going to notice that they're straight across, and you don't have that ability to actually cantilever back and forth on your foot peg. So a lot of innovation on there. As far as fuel cap back here, it is a very auto-style fuel cap, so once you hear it click, you're tight, and then just fill up accordingly. We do recommend about premium octane in the fuel. A lot of us run high-octane ethanol-free if you're letting the bike sit for a bit. That's going to help you out. It just runs better, a little cleaner on the fuel system. Now we're going to take a look at the back of the unit here and kind of see some of the features here. So there again, we've got our tow hitch right there. The true numbers are 1,322 pounds of tow capacity, but I've seen people squeak out a bit more on them too. Then you've got a little bit of storage right here. You can tuck in goodies here. That's just a little accessory port for covering up one of the light features that you can put on the bike, up on the front of the bike. And you can seal that up. And this is usually where the owner's manual is hiding at. They probably have it up underneath the seat, but you can put some storage in there. I know people that put different tow balls in there and keep that stacked in there, or they'll do a tow rope or whatnot. So a lot of good features there. It does have a differential that you can actually check the fluid height on it. So instead of actually having to remove a piece of hardware, you do have an actual dipsticks there. So it works out pretty nice on that. The suspension is all fully adjustable on the preload. So if you're packing a little more weight, you can turn this collar and really crank up that load. Right now it's set in the softer setting. If you want a little more preload up on it, there is a toolkit that has a spanner wrench. You can turn this collar. That'll bring that nib up onto the steeper part of the staircase and just stiffen up that back suspension. And that'll be the same up on the front too. Now, some things to be aware if you are an owner of one of these units, or any side-by-side quad out there that has axles on it. One thing to keep mindful of, if you're out doing any sagebrush running or anything like that, make sure that you check the machine after you're finished up with the day, that you haven't wound up anything up in your CV boots or your axles. I've seen balls of yarn. I've seen barbed wire get wrapped up in these things, twine, whatnot, rope. So unfortunately, that can start cutting into your boots, or I've actually seen it work its way all the way back into the seal and start doing damage to your axle seals as well. So it's a good idea to just do a visual maintenance check on the bike. If you see anything in there, just get it pulled out, get it cleaned up. Then as far as the rear brake assembly on these, massive rear brake on it. We're going to take a little peek in here and I'll point that out. This is actually a wet rear brake for the park brake. So on that park brake and the rear brake, it is the equivalent of like a Cat D9. I've never seen one of these wear out, but you can overpower the rear brake with the motor. A lot of times what I see with clients is they'll loan the bike out, and then the people that are riding the bike, they forget to take the park brake off, and it'll actually completely overheat this thing. It'll melt up into your fuel tank and melt out that shielding. So if you do loan your bike out, or if you're riding the bike, make sure that you get that park brake released. It can damage that wet clutch. These are very expensive to replace because these are basically a lifetime brake. You shouldn't have to replace those. So those actually probably outlast the actual life of the unit if you maintain it properly. So really no maintenance, just to operate it properly, you'll be good to go. You do have fine-tune adjustments here if you want to adjust the foot control or the hand control brake as well, so you can adjust the tension on those. That's what those little nut guys are right there. Now we're going to take a look at the front of the unit. And up underneath the front here, and that's actually that little cover that's in there for that light. You can pull this off and just do a black cover on it instead of having the amber on it. Up on the front here, same concept. You've got your CV boots right here. You do have a checkable differential as well. And then this whole compartment right here, it is compatible for a winch. So if you wanted to get a winch in here, use it for snowplow or whatnot, or just wanted to have that winch handy, it is all set up for a winch. One thing I like about the Suzukis as well, it's kind of a little hidden feature, but this little snorkel right here is actually designed for your winch wires, so you can just snake all your winch wires right through that snorkel. It leads right to your battery. So it's already prepped for you. It's already set up to operate and wire in that system. If we take a look right here, this is part of your cooling system. This is your expansion tank right here. There's a low line and a high line. You want to keep it somewhere mid height on there. If it gets a little up, that's fine. And then basically that's where you're going to fill up on. If we took a look up on the top of the unit, your access point is actually right up underneath your cover here, so you do have to remove all the 10mm bolts, get this cover plate off, and then there's a little access plate to actually access your fill port on your expansion tank, and you can access your radiator cap as well. So just a little hardware removal to get to that, but it's not too difficult. And some of the other features, this one's always kind of makes me laugh. This is actually your dry storage right here. It does have an O-ring on it. So you can put gloves in there, goggles, sandwiches, whatnot. I have had clients use this for their gas fill. That's not going to feed your engine. So if you're filling it up here, it's not going to work. It's also going to make a big mess. Then unfortunately, you just filled it up on the wrong end. So I've actually had people try to fill up there and use that as a fuel fill. Not the case at your dry storage. That's a little key, just turn that and it'll lock in. You do have a 12-volt power source right there in case you want to run a Garmin unit or keep your cell phone charged. You can run that up on a bracket up on your bars there. Works out really nice. I know a lot of guys that use them for hunting and whatnot. And then up on the ignition here, if you notice, there's actually a couple different positions. You've got off, on, that's going to be your light, and then you've got your accessory power as well. That'll turn on your lights and your auxiliary lights. So if you want to run dark, you can just leave it in the on position, or if you want your headlights, that's going to run all your fronts. And then if you turn to all the way on, it's going to run your front headlights and your center pod light as well. So a lot of different features on that you can set it up depending on how you want to run. Then if we take a look up here on the dash or on the gauges, I'm going to turn that power on. You see that do a little dance. Now basically up here, it's pretty simple stuff on the information here. You've got your odometer reading here, fuel gauges right here, gear indicator here. This one will go away once you put the bike into gear, and that's just showing that your power steering system is active. So very easy to turn on these things too. Then if we take a look here, that's actually going to be for your fog light up on front. You see that illuminating up in front there. Then on the differential lock, we're going to go over some of the features on that. You do have your four-wheel drive, so that'll put the unit into four-wheel drive. And then You can actually see it activating in there, and a lot of times if it's really quiet around you, you can actually hear little servos engaging into the drive system as well. The differential lock, basically what that's going to do is you have that locked in. That's going to lock in both of your axles, front and rear, so you're not going to have a peg leg effect where one wheel will spin a little and the other one won't as much. This is going to lock everything into where it's nice and solid. So if you're in a really bad mucky spot or something like that, that can really drive you out of that whole situation. One thing that we do recommend is when you are going from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive, I'd recommend coming to a stop. Same thing with your differential locks too. I like to envision basically you're trying to mate two ruffled potato chips together. One of them is spinning at a high rate and the other one's at a dead stop. So it's a good idea to come to a full stop before you engage into these four-wheel drive systems or the differential. That way it gives everything a chance to mesh in instead of possible chance of shearing things off, especially if you're at RPM. That can possibly do some damage. Now, a lot of people are curious on what the override button here is. The override is if you're in reverse, the unit will actually hit a rev limiter and it'll say up, 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 to where it won't rev up any higher. If you're in a bad situation and you really need a little more power to get out, you can hold that override button down while you're in reverse. That'll take that rev limiter away and it'll allow you to pull out of that system, or out of that situation, I should say. Then you've got your basics, engine cutoff switch, on, off, that would be off position. That would be your on position there. And bike will fire it up right here from the start button. Just like so. Good deal. All right, we can put the bike into gear, just like so. The low gear position works really well for about 7 to 10 miles an hour. Anything above that, you want to have it in the high gear position. Then you can shut the bike off just with the engine cutoff switch, turn your key off, and then it'll power the whole unit down. One thing I would recommend kind of diving back onto the gears. This is where we see a lot of damage to these units as well, and it's always when someone loans their unit out to someone that's not familiar with it. When you are going from forward to reverse or reverse to forward, come to a complete stop. There again, kind of imagine two ruffled potato chips trying to mate together, but one's spinning at a high rate of speed. That's where you can do some damage to the transmission, not coming to a full complete stop before you change it from that forward to reverse or reverse to forward. So just keep that in mind when you are operating the bike. We're going to take a look up underneath the seat here. Now, one thing that's really innovative about the seats on the Kingquads, this is actually called a T-back seat, so it allows you to slide from side to side and get a little more weight to the inside of that tire when you're taking those higher rate of speed turns, or maybe you're side cutting on a hill and you want to get a little more of that weight on that inside. So it gives you a little more padding on the side and gives you a little more allowance to slide back and forth. To release the seat, we're going to squeeze right up underneath the back here. It's just got a little lever. Just going to pull up on that. Then that's going to expose. There's our owner's manual right there. It is a paper owner's manual. It's kind of nice, gives you a little bit of bathroom literature time. A lot of times manufacturers are just going to a digital owner's manual, so pretty nice feature that Suzuki offers that. Here's your little minor toolkit. You'll find your spanner wrench in there to adjust your shocks. A couple minor hardware, 10, 12s, screwdriver bits in there as well. So it gives you a little tool access in here. All your relays, your ECU, battery. And there again, like I mentioned in our other videos, we always wire our units in to where you can just plug in a charging unit if you're parking the bike for a while. That way you can keep that battery a little happier right there. If you're curious on how deep you can submerge these, this is your intake for your air filter right here. So you could actually almost get up to about the height of your knees in water before you start having issues where you're pulling water into the intake system. So you can really get these sinking in pretty deep. If you have to access your air filter, you pull this upper shell out. It's going to be a round style cartridge filter. You can access it and pull it out, clean it, or replace it if that time is due. So to get your seat back on, put the owner's manual back in there for the next client. We're just going to start with the nose down, a little slide forward, and a little smack down like so. So very capable units on these. Like I said, this is one of the best units out there that I've found on the market. I've worked on a lot of different brands and manufacturers. The Suzuki Kingquad is really the top of the line. It'll really last you for quite a while. This is probably something you'll end up handing off to your grandkids one of these days. So if you want to come check it out, definitely give a shout here at the Edge Powersports, or you can look this up on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and you can also use this as a reference to take a look at the bike and really see some features. Before I really kind of pull away from the video, gang, I do want to point out this does have a dipstick style oil check on it, so just check right there, easy to maintain and get to. If you want to get a little deeper into the bike, you can pull your push starts out right here and pull this whole panel off. And then the oil filter is actually right at the front of the unit. You can actually reach right inside the fender wells, access it, then you can just fill up accordingly. And really break-in period time on it, oil change intervals. First 5 hours of riding, just kind of modulate the RPMs up and down. Don't get into drag races. Don't try running down that bull elk down the field. Then your average oil change, you're going to be looking at anywhere from 8 to 10 hours on it. And the Suzuki oil is amazing oil. I'd stick with that. And one thing I failed to mention is this unit is actually going for an amazing deal. I just looked at the price on it, and they've actually dropped it down from $11,399 to $899. So if you want to really score on a good deal, this thing is pretty much fully loaded versus if you wanted to put a plow on it. So give it a shout, gang. Love chatting with you about it. Thanks. Have a great time.